looking at state of affairs, bringing you up to speed on the latest happenings in business. Well, tonight, some of the key issues we would want to look at was staying on the small-scale mining issue. To ban or not to ban, or Galamsey operations, to ban or not to ban. The days, the countdown is still on, and we have just about 6 to 7 days to heed to the president's call of a ban. Tonight, they justify reasons why they think small scale should not be banned because it's supporting a lot of livelihoods. So we would want to get deep by interacting with the director of operations with the Ghana National Association of Small Scale Miners. But away from that, we have an economist also in the studio. Today, IMF completed their review of the economy. Of course, telling us that, well, Ghana is on a good path to recovery, and they were optimistic. But one surprising part was that they were looking at extending the program. But in a surprise U-turn, the finance minister said, well, we will do well to end the program at the appropriate date of April 2018. And that was for many a big surprise, looking at early on what the senior minister had said about it. We had bits and pieces of it in the news tonight. We'll bring you some highlights of the press conference. My name is Kwekutimen, and tonight is going to be interesting, packed full of interesting details. Just before we say anything else, let me go to my guest in the studio right here. Emmanuel Entry is a small-scale miner. Again, he is the director of operations with the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. He's seated right by my side on my right hand. Then I have Dr. GHOne Boakun. He is a finance economist joining us tonight to speak on some of the economic issues. And also, don't you forget that inflation has inched further down to 12.8. We would want to find out what this means for the Ghanaian economy. So we have this and other interesting details coming up in our discussions tonight. Obviously, you would also want to join the discussion tonight by staying glued to us and enjoying every bit of what we have for you. Well, gentlemen, let me say a big welcome to every one of you and happy Easter in advance.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Let me start with the issues surrounding the small-scale miners. Well, I have a statement here in front of me. They were in Kumasi, raising several issues, bringing up several concerns, of course, all justifying the point that do not ban small-scale operations. Well, Emmanuel Yirinchi, I want you to do the justification yourself. I mean, the president has called for that stakeholder discussion, and it started in earnest. Again, there's a media war against the ban of illegal mining. But your team, you are advocating strongly that this is not to ban. Why shouldn't we ban the activities that seemingly are polluting the water bodies?
Thank you, Kweku. I am very much happy today. And then I would
You're happy that our water is being polluted?
No, I'm happy that you invited me here.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm not too happy. I need some answers from you.
Yes, of course. You see, the association's position is very clear. What we are saying is anything illegal, we don't stand for it. However, as a nation, when we have stood there up to this point, where the problem has become a social problem, then we don't go with a brute force as we are planning to go. Because I quite remember 2013, the then government used force to evict some of the illegal miners. What did we see? A lot of open pits that up to date have not been recovered. Those pits has a lot of water in there, breeding mosquitoes, killing people and animals as well.
How did the government fault there? The government instituted a task force that pursued those supposedly in illegal mining operations, and you're faulting the government for taking that action?
Like any other social problem, you don't use brute force or technical force to solve it. If the government has been accommodating enough to bring the small-scale miners on board, for us to share with them our experiences with these illegal miners as we normally mine alongside with them. And we also have a representation in all mining communities in Ghana. We would have advised the government that before you attack such people, their excavators are the equipment that we need to do the reclamation. And so first we identify where they are working, and then 2, we go to them and then give them ultimatum to do a reclamation. I can see that we are making the same mistake now again with all these 3 weeks of, pack and go, and then who is going to reclaim all those uncovered pits? At the end of the day, they are going to blame the whole industry, including the legal ones, that we have caused those mess. We should handle it as it is. It's a social challenge, a social problem, and we should handle it like that.
From the way you speak, if I understand your words very well, you tell me, Kweku, we mine alongside occasionally with these illegal miners. So you have dissociated yourselves from them as small-scale miners.
Yes, like I said, there is no way the association is going to support any illegality in the country. We don't. So we are licensed, legal, small-scale miners. We got our authority from the Constitution through the Minerals Commission, and then Lands and Natural Resources, and then up to some points the Ministry of Environment through EPA, and then the judiciary as well, because after everything, we go to the High Court for the court to also put its seal on our agreement with the government. And so we are very legal and legitimate. You're
justifying the legality of your operations with the document stamped even at the High Court as a license given to you.
Yes, Kweku. And I also want to take this opportunity to say that there are differences between the small-scale mining activities. We have the legal license operators, and then we have the galamsey operators. Even with that, there are about 3 kinds or 3 categories of those galamsey operators.
Take the opportunity, a few minutes, to educate me a little bit.
Thank you. So now the legal ones, we are not talking about them, because for them, they are legal. And so we don't even come into the picture at all. With the galamsey, we have 3 categories. We have those who are on the river bodies, the dredgers. In the local parlance, they call them people or chamfine people. And then we have those who are also working in the forest. And then we have those who are working in the hinterlands. I'll tell you something interesting. For those who are working on the water bodies, this phenomenon started about 5 years ago. And we started alerting the authorities about it. Nothing was done about it. Now we are happy that the media hype is also showing. I think that the target should be those on the river bodies. And then we come to those in the forest. But those in the hinterlands...
You think these illegal miners, as you talk about, media gurus like Ken Ashigbe have all come in to add their voice that let's go after them. You think it is okay, the association supports the initiative to pursue them?
Yes, Kweku, yes, but then the method that they are using now, the way they've kind of lumped us all together, you can see clearly that they lack the knowledge, credibility to even lead this campaign. They don't really understand the industry and understand the various operators in the industry. So they've lumped everybody together, and then they are on that warpath as if that all form of small-scale mining in the country is wrong, which is not so. For you to know, the legal ones are there. So for us, we are not even part of this ban. And I don't think that the government will even attempt to ban the legal ones. Other than that, there will be a lot of rains of judgment that's falling here and there.
The president is calling within the next few days for the ban on the operations, and you are saying categorically that it doesn't apply to you, small-scale miners.
Not at all. I don't think that any government in Ghana will cause such a ban on legalized small-scale miners. Then the government will be inviting a lot of judgment debts on itself. And I don't think...
I was going to bring Dr. in shortly, but explain that point to me. The president feels, look, enough of the destruction of the water bodies. Let's call them to order. Let them halt the operations. The Minister of Land, Natural Resources is at this course also. And he said, no way, this cannot happen. our activities cannot be halted in any way, and that it could attract judgment. Now, Yima, for those of you out there, maybe you don't know, but Yima Yuenchi is a whole graduate. He studied white and he's into small-scale mining. So he's not the ordinary man you might think on an average day. He's just on a water body just digging around or anything. Do you accept this, that yes, you are a graduate, you are well-trained, and you have decided to go into small-scale mining?
Yes, I do accept it, Kweku. And Kweku, we don't mine on water bodies. There's no law in Ghana that mandates any person to mine on water bodies. That one is totally illegal, and we are against it as an association.
But you've never...
We have even started chasing them out. We started this war about 2 years ago. But you know, the association is not a law enforcement agency. So sometimes you go there, you arrest these people, you send them to the law enforcement agencies, and then the next time you see them, they are back into the rivers again.
Okay, I'll allow you time later on to come up. But Doctor, you followed the discussions. Yes, a man who is confident about it. Even dares you that if you try me, I acquired my license legally, and you could be attracting judgment debt if you should stop me. Probably he's also gone for some money from his financiers to embark on this initiative. He's gone to the Minerals Commission to go through the process to secure the license for it. But we are all also concerned about the degradation to the environment. Maybe the economist point of view could help me a little bit tonight.
Yeah, good evening to our viewers. I think the issue of small-scale mining and galamsey, I mean, the things we've been saying is quite critical to Ghana. And I would want all of us to look at it from that perspective and see...
Help me, give me that perspective.
And see which ways that we can equally satisfy both parties. That is, those who are into the operations, the people who are actually practicing it, and those of us who feel that they are degrading the environment, particularly water and water bodies and land, and then the government also as the overseer. I will ask or caution my brother to tone down a little on the issue of government in an attempt to ban these will be attracting judgment. I mean, I'm not a legal luminary, but if we want to go deep into this, we need to judge in a very dispassionate manner.
You want to call for dialogue rather than...
For me, that is the way to go, because the thing is that if you look at the people who go into the business, they go in, people die every day. People die in a very bizarre circumstances, and yet we see people go in. People enter into the pits, they are covered by sand, they die, and the following day, people want to enter. It means that something is pushing them. There is some kind of economic force that is pushing the people that they have no control over. And so to say that you want to use some other force to prevent that economic, no other force can overcome economic force when it wants to take its position. And so there is this kind of drive economically, financially. It is because the people are not emancipated. They want to have livelihood. And anything they want to do to get a livelihood, they will get it. Now, the way they are going about it, we may think they are going about it the wrong way. What is it that we can do to make sure that there can be some form of restructure and overhaul to ensure that the people get what they want, but they do it in a proper manner? Now, I've heard about people trying to distinguish between legal mining and small-scale mining. For me, there is no difference. And an attempt to differentiate between small-scale mining and galamsey will be striking the difference without a distinction. There isn't any difference. The only difference I foresee is the fact that somebody is handed a legal document that you can do this, but in practice, they will do the same thing. Okay, somebody goes for a legal document that is a small-scale miner. He goes to the field, and the things he is doing are not substantially different from the things the galamsey people are doing. And so I wouldn't want my brother and his group to come from the position that we are legally allowed to do this. In any case, that license you have is not a contract between you and the government. And if the government gives you a license, at any point in time, he can decide. He has that sovereign power to say that revoke. Exactly, in the interest of the public good, we want to revoke that license.
Okay. So you don't worry, I'll give you the opportunity to answer this question. I see you, you want to jump on the table already, but sit down. Yes, it's dialogue.
We need to understand it from that perspective and see how best. You see, for me, banning it outrightly can be good for maintaining the environment, but we have to look at the economics of it. Okay, the finance, the economic aspect, because at the end of the day too, we need to think about the people. okay, how they can also survive. So many people depend on it. But we need to find a way. There should be that kind of balance where we can restructure the thing in such a manner that they can go about the operations without degrading the land. And it all boils down to law enforcement. Okay. It is not as if we don't have the laws and the regulations.
We'll take to 10 minutes more to round these particular discussions up. But Yima, he's raised critical concerns that, well, from where he sits as an economist, he doesn't, the only difference he sees is one with the paper and one without the paper, but virtually all you do is the same. I say on authority, and you've invited me a couple of times that come to my mining site. Yes. I have not been able to come there with my cameras. But tell me exactly, and society will judge you from the people and the community in which you mine. What is the difference between you and the galamsey or illegal miner there?
Kweku, thank you very much. And my friend doctor here, I think he made a certain fundamental error. And that error is something that has gone on, even in the media campaign, basically describing all the activities as the same, and then with a paper. You see, when the government signs contracts with you, the EPA also give you another license or permits, let me call it that way.
That's the Environmental Protection Agency would also come in.
Exactly. And then give you and prescribe ways and means you are to reclaim the mine out area. Here's the difference. We all open the belly of the earth, including the large-scale miners. I mean, the large-scale companies, the Newmonts and Anglo Ashanti and all that. We all open the belly of the earth. Now, after opening it, the real deal is after the operation, what happens? That is where the regulation comes in. And even the method that we use to open the pit. And so it is not just an ordinary paper. It is a paper that has instruction and regulation on it that you are supposed to follow to the letter.
Have you followed these instructions?
Yes, of course.
At your site, have you followed it?
Yes.
Have you reclaimed the land?
Yes, Kweku. Yes. To a large extent, majority of our members follow this. And those that we find out that they are not following it, we bring them to book.
Are there tougher sanctions? You mentioned it's an association. You don't even bite.
It's true. Because we don't have the powers to bite. But then, at the end of the day, we do peer review, which is very important. Remember where we have come from. Since 1989, up to date, a lot of improvement has taken place. One of it is our agreement with UMAT. You know, I would say, I stand to be corrected, that the very first university industry partnership where the industry and the university sat down and designed a program which is tailored towards the industry's operation. For me, I stand to be corrected, but I feel it's one of the first in the country. I've not heard anything like that. I mean, those times when we were in Legon campus and Gimpa campus studying and all that, we were studying a lot of stuff that are not locally tailored. But this program is tailored towards the industry. It shows how ready we are to improve upon the way we work as a small scale. Up to now, since 1989, up to now, we don't even have any small scale mining course in any of our universities. As a nation, what are the plans that we are putting in place? The association is leading this. But then, hey, we are just a small body. The government is there. The government can come in, ask us where we have got into, ask you, Matt, where you and these guys have got into. Where are you guys going into? You see, the impression that because we all open the belly of the earth, and then maybe you come and get me at my side, open the belly of the earth, does not mean that my operation and the illegal operator is the same. Because when the illegal operator finishes, he can afford to run away. But I cannot, because the license is a site-specific. And so the Minerals Commission and all other agencies that gives me the license know where I work, know where I reside, know all those things. So I cannot run away.
All right.
I would have to reclaim the land and possibly replant it. That's the difference. Other than that, all mining are the same. I mean, you go to Obuasi and then you see how they've opened the belly of the earth so wide, sometimes 25 acres, sometimes even square kilometers, open it so wide. But then at the end of the day, they reclaim the place, the main miners, the large-scale companies. So then it's almost the same thing.
And you are saying we don't go attacking them.
At all.
We shouldn't attack you.
That's the point. So the difference in the paper that we have is we have a commitment. And then we ensure that we obey that commitment. I tell you, Kweku, people from governments in Malawi and then Equatorial Guinea. They come here, and then the ministry people and the Minerals Commission people direct them to some of our sites to see model small-scale mining so that they will model it after their own. This is happening in the country.
I think maybe in the coming days, one person we should get into the studio is Dr. Tony Obin, because if other people are coming from elsewhere and he's directing them to your mine science to check, then maybe there could be something you're doing. But Doc, maybe you can help me. You are sometimes academicians, you maths and the like. Do you think till this day they should have done more for the education in this sector to thrive or something in your concluding statements before we look at the economy?
Yeah, before I say that, I must admit that I have little knowledge into the cost structure of the engineering departments at these universities. And so I'm unable to say whether or not their cost structure meets the needs of the people practically. But I mean, by suggestion, we can all suggest that if that is not the way they're going, they need to redefine their courses. I've always complained about a lot of universities in Ghana and the courses they run. Most of them are not tailor-made, okay?
It should be able to meet the needs of industry. I mean, it should be able to meet the need, orient the small-scale miner. That should be the essence of education, okay? You must study to solve problems. And the problems, because of the fickleness and fragility of society, things change. So as we must move with the contemporary trends. What are the issues currently? And we need to design courses to be able to solve that. If we've been doing small-scale mining over the years and been issuing licenses, and there is no single course at our universities that look at small-scale mining, it's just like having a microfinance institution in Ghana for over years, and you don't have universities studying microfinance. We are heading towards nothing. We need to do that. If that is not done, I can't say, because I don't know the cost structure at the universities with respect to this particular area. If that is not done, that is the way we ought to go. And that is what all over the world universities are doing. People who are studying courses, you hear and you say, oh, it's not usual in a setting. It's because that course is designed to address a particular problem within a particular society. There's a heated argument right here in the studio, but let me say Cowbell Coffee is cooling us this evening. I mean, if you are at home, probably it's one that you can always enjoy in your office. We're grateful that they are supporting us this evening to bring you State of Affairs. After this break, when we come back, we'll look at the economy. We'll look at what the IMF is saying. We'll try to find out if it's a program that we need to extend, or per the finance minister, it would end when it has to end. We'll be back shortly with some more. Do stay with us. It's still State of Affairs.
Everybody drink our coffee, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody do what you're doing, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody do what you're doing, your smile will bring a sunshine day.
Drink up
the celebration, we're together, join your hands in harmony. Everybody do what you're doing, smile and have a sunshine day.
Everybody start every day with delicious, nutritious Cowbell coffee and have a sunshine day.
Everybody drink our coffee, smile and have a sunshine day. Woo! Post-acute food supplements to improve urine flow in men. We hear so frequently, no more straining in urination.
Some few months ago, life was very tough for me as a man. I had a problem with urine flow. The urine does not flow the way I wanted. My bladder is often not completely empty. Sometimes I just embarrass myself. Until I was introduced to Prostacure from Medimosis Prostate Center.
Building, opposite Ministry of Roads and Transport, near Pension House, Accra.
Prostacure food supplement improves urine flow in men.
Madam Hisense, media sampa baby.
Makasa na yetie. Say high sense King Kong phone. Apa mo bibia. Your high sense King Kong 1 and your high sense King Kong 2 and your high sense King Kong 3. Still, high sense King Kong phone. Insurance yo insurahiase. Ensio tona se show bottom na de na mu a. Uni how enye hwe. High sense King Kong battery check. Ne one day afe na ne bo da form. Tutumika ko high sense showroom bia. Ne kojo King Kong 1, 2 or 3. Madam High Sense, matete so mo will say, who afe frey 0302 550000. High Sense, everyday prizes for everyday people.
Everybody drink our coffee, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody do what you're doing, smile and have a sunshine day. Everybody do what you're doing, your smile will bring a sunshine day.
Drink up
A celebration, we're together, join your hands in harmony. Everybody, do what you're doing. Smile and have a sunshine day.
Everybody start every day with delicious, nutritious cowbell coffee and have a sunshine day.
Everybody, drink our coffee. Smile and have a sunshine day. Woo!
Proudly brought to you by Cowbell. You are live on State of Affairs. It's a Thursday and we're looking at the business edition of State of Affairs. Issues we've been discussing, the small-scale mining activities alongside with galamsey activities. Should it be a ban or not to be a ban? And we've had some answers. We'll leave the rest to you. But for now, let's look at some economic issues. And here, the IMF has been meeting with authorities here in Ghana. They met with the finance minister this afternoon to conclude the review meeting. Quite positive for Ghana. Let's listen to the IMF mission chief in Ghana on what exactly she had to say about Ghana, and then we'll take that of the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, as well.
The IMF as with Ghana, and we've made good progress on those discussions. Discussions focused on recent economic and policy developments and the outlook for 2017 and the medium term, including prospects for restoring high economic growth and job creation. The mission also discussed the parameters of the program, as I just said, consistent with restoring macroeconomic stability. Ghana is facing a unique opportunity to turn the economy around. The new administration won a strong electoral mandate to pursue the adjustment and reform needed to restore macroeconomic stability and, in line with the government's agenda, create prosperity and equal opportunities for all. Ghana's long-standing challenges have been long-standing and can only be resolved through ambitious and sustained reforms in key policy areas, going beyond the central government to really encompass the operation of the broader public sector. Economic prospects in 2017 are encouraging, as economic growth is expected to pick up, inflation is declining, and prospects are there for a significant increase in the foreign exchange reserve position following significant foreign exchange inflows in recent weeks. The authorities' initiatives are promising. We welcome the decision to limit revenue earmarking and the legislation recently enacted by Parliament. We are also encouraged by the Ministry of Finance plans to control tax exemptions and combat tax evasion, and to strengthen spending discipline, including by conducting an audit of unpaid bills and strengthening public financial management. More needs to be done to restore macroeconomic stability and anchor confidence, debt on a clearly declining path after the sizable fiscal slippage in 2016. Significant unpaid commitments were incurred in 2016, and weaknesses in the financial position of state-owned enterprises in the utility sector in particular could undermine fiscal adjustment and add to spending and public debt. The 2017 budget targets a significant fiscal correction based on a combination of strong revenue and spending initiatives. In the mission's view, revenue projections are optimistic. The authorities have expressed their commitment to achieve the budgeted deficit or the budget deficit targeted under the 2017 budget of 6.5% of GDP. In our view, the immediate priority is to ensure fiscal discipline by bringing down the deficit to a level that is sufficient to reverse the unfavorable debt dynamics. Continued fiscal consolidation would also facilitate ongoing disinflation and anchor confidence. There is a need to bring fiscal discipline to the SOEs, to the state-owned enterprises, as I said, especially in the utility sector. The Energy Sector Levy Act, the ESLA, introduced in 2016, has helped banks and the SOEs restructure the debt, but the debt of the sector continues to grow, and this can eventually undermine the efforts that are ongoing to restructure the debt and may require additional government support. We welcome the Ministry of Finance efforts to monitor the SOE sector more systematically, and in the context, the ongoing financial audit of SOE financial operation should be concluded without delay. Finally, maybe saying something about the Central Bank of Ghana, and here we congratulate again the government.
All right, so you heard the IMF mission chief who led the delegation. Of course, quite good prospects for Ghana on the few things that she touched on. Quite interesting. They welcome the revenue earmarking that you would know that the IFS had championed early on and suggested to government, and then government went ahead to take the initiative. So yes, revenue earmarking, putting a cap on it, has been accepted by the IMF. Of course, the growth projections are quite ambitious for them. And then Ghana stands a unique opportunity to turn its economy around. But as to whether that would be done would depend largely on the policies that government would take. So those were some of the issues that came up there. In a while, when we have the opportunity, we'll hear shortly from the finance minister himself, Ken Ofori-Atta. But let me straight away go on to Dr. Bracco to share with me his thoughts on the IMF's review and what they think about our economy.
Yeah, I think generally it's been a positive encounter with the IMF. If you listen to what the IMF said and what the finance minister said, there appears to be some kind of convergence between the two. Usually the IMF may take a position, government also takes a position, and you see that kind of divergent opinion. But here, the IMF and the government agree in so many terms, and therefore government decides to continue the IMF program, but not to seek extension. I think coming into this year, there were a lot of skepticism on whether or not government was going to continue the IMF program and also seek extension. But I think in the campaign period, the NPP made its position very clear that they were not in support of the IMF program. In fact, Dr. Bawumia had a lot of time pontificated the negatives and the issues associated with the IMF program. And so it was much expected that this government will not extend the IMF program. But as a government that seeks to continue what its predecessors has done, the government has decided to see the program to its completion. And once it is completed, they wean themselves from the IMF, and the Ghana continues on the path that we want to go, the way we want to solve our problems, we go around that way. And for me, I'm happy. And I think that we all as a Ghanaians ought to applaud ourselves, particularly the government and the leadership within the economic and the financial team, for being able to get us to where we are. I think the IMF also looks positive, okay, into the future. If you listen to them,
of course,
because of the things they have seen, government has begun, rolling up. Oh. And I think that those are quite remarkable. One thing that I was particularly enthused about with this government was the thing of putting a cap on the earmark funds, okay? We all know that 3 items on the budget line take around 99.something% of the total revenues and the monies that government has. And so going forward, government ought to re-strategize and devise means that they can create fiscal space so that apart from paying salaries and commitments on debt and other things, you can also get some money to do other capital expenditure projects. And that is very, very key. And if you follow the finance minister's utterances and the things the government, have put in place, you get a clear signal that this government is not just in to ensure growth, but also to ensure fiscal consolidation. They seek to reduce the budget deficit from 8.7% to 6.5%, and at the same time maintain the current debt stock or do not add on to the current debt stock substantially. And I think that is the way to go as a country. If you look at the macro side, nobody should tell you that there's some kind of positivity.
I was coming to some of the issues there. Here we have inflation inching further down from 13.2 to 12.8. You've had the policy rate also significantly come down. I don't know if it's trickled down to the various banks yet, or we've started feeling the impact. But the exchange rate, you'd also say that at the point at which it was seeing that significant appreciation, that's the dollar against the Ghana cedi, it's also seeing some reversal for some time. So the finance minister looked positive there and even assured that they are looking forward to even working harder to see some of these indicators come down further.
Yeah, I think all these are good, but for me what is key is leadership. Okay, if you look at what is driving the gain in the strength of the exchange rate, you wonder and you ask yourself, why did we allow it to get to where it was, okay, in the past? One of the key reasons is the fact that the Bank of Ghana is insisting on some compliance of some banks, the commercial banks in this country. The commercial banks hold what we call net open positions. And the net open position is the amount of dollars you can hold as a percentage of your total wealth. Now, all the banks are to hold a certain threshold as net open position. You can't hold in excess of that. Now, what was happening was that the banks were taking long positions in the foreign exchange market, i.e. buying dollars. And in this country, I've kept on saying that if you say people are hoarding dollars, it is not the individuals. The banks hoard more than the individuals. Banks hoard dollars more than individuals. So when I hear